Hi, we're talking about social anxiety disorder. The defining feature of social anxiety disorder, also called social phobia, is intense anxiety or fear of being judged, negatively evaluated, or rejected in a social or performance situation. People with social anxiety disorder may worry about acting or appearing visibly anxious, like blushing, stumbling over words, etc., or being viewed as stupid, awkward, or boring. As a result, they often avoid social or performance situations, and when a situation cannot be avoided, they experience significant anxiety and distress. Many people with social anxiety disorder also experience strong physical symptoms such as rapid heart rate, nausea, and sweating, and may experience full blown attacks when confronting a feared situation. Although they recognize that their fear is excessive and unreasonable, people with social anxiety disorder often feel powerless against their anxiety. Symptoms of social anxiety disorder. People with social anxiety disorder usually experience significant emotional distress in the following situations: being introduced to other people, being teased or criticized, being the center of attention, being watched while doing something, meeting people in authority, most social encounters, especially with strangers, going around the room or table in a circle having to say something, interpersonal relationships, whether friendships or romantic. This list is certainly not a complete list. Other feelings have been associated with social anxiety as well. The physiological manifestation that accompanies social anxiety may include intense fear, racing heart, turning red or blushing, excessive sweating, dry throat and mouth, trembling fear of picking up a glass of water or using utensils to eat, swallowing with difficulty, and muscle twitches, particularly around the face and neck. Constant intense anxiety that does not go away is the most common feature. People with social anxiety disorder know that their anxiety is irrational and does not make rational sense. Nevertheless, knowing something is not the same thing as believing and feeling something. Thus, for people with social anxiety, thoughts and feelings of anxiety persist and show no signs of going away, despite the fact that socially anxious people face their fears every day of their lives. How to get rid of social anxiety? Social anxiety is a particularly debilitating disorder. It affects up to 13% of the population, so you can imagine how many people want to know how to get rid of social anxiety. Anyone that suffers from social anxiety knows the crippling fear they experience on a daily basis. Just trying to do the normal things the majority of us take for granted can bring on severe anxiety and panic attacks. It can be really difficult to know how to get rid of social anxiety if you did had it for a long time. But what exactly is it? You may suffer from social anxiety if you worry about everyday social activities such as shopping, going to work, talking to strangers, speaking on the phone, being with people. Avoid social activities such as eating out, going to parties, family gatherings, meetings, and the cinema. Think you are going to embarrass yourself in some way or appear incompetent in front of others. Cannot concentrate when someone is watching you, as you feel as if you are being criticized or judged. Then experience panic attacks in the above situations. So, how to get rid of social anxiety? If you want to learn how to get rid of social anxiety, it is important to find out its origins. Social phobia can come from many different places. Something it comes down the belief that we think we are not good enough, that there is something wrong with us. We think that we are constantly being judged, and once the world find out what idiots we are, we will be laughed at. As for myself, my social anxiety came about from a sense of feeling trapped. I had a panic attacks before in relation to traveling, but I did never experienced them in the workplace. Then one day, I was straight back from the lunch break, and all of a sudden, I felt trapped and I could not breathe properly. It was so bad that I had to go home. From that day, I developed a fear of having panic attack in public. that started my social anxiety. Whatever reason is behind your restricted lifestyle, there are ways to get rid of social anxiety. Here we will talk about the 7 ways that shows how to get rid of social anxiety. Number 1 in the list is tell people about your anxiety. Remember that percentage at the beginning. Up to 13% of people suffer from social anxiety. So 13% out of every 100 have the same disorders as you. You are definitely not the only one and hiding it away from others to make it worse. Would it be surprised at the number of times I have mentioned my phobias or anxieties to others only for them to say, me too? Suffering from a mental disorder is nothing to be ashamed of. The best thing you can do is tell your friends, your family, your boss and your colleagues. I bet the majority of them had the same experience of anxiety and welcome you coming forward. But whatever you do, don't hide away. And if someone mocks you, tell them that at least you are trying to get over your problem. Second is talk to yourself as the third person. When I get anxious, the first thing I think is, oh my god, I have got to get out. Research suggests that if you use the third person when you talk, you take the emotion out of stressful situation. It helps you manage your natural ability to think clearly and objectively. Just think about it. Imagine a friend comes to you asking for advice about a situation you are not personally involved in. As an outsider, it is much easier for you to see the bigger picture. You can give a fair analysis and not get emotionally involved in all the nitty-gritty. It's exactly the same when you have those conversations in your head. Language is a powerful tool. Use it to help you rather than adding to your anxiety. Third point is breathe. Research suggests that swallow breathing sends signals to most reptilian part of your brain to prepare us for fight or flight. This increases adrenaline and where there is no real threat can make us feel anxious. Shallow breathing or hyperventilating causes an excess of carbon dioxide to build up in our blood. There is new research to suggest that breathing in carbon dioxide or carbon-rich air can increase feeling of panic and anxiety. This is because high levels of carbon dioxide change the pH level in our brain. Studies show that these levels play an important role in fear. pH levels are carefully monitored in the brain. Any imbalance can cause serious disruption to the way we function. Excessive carbon dioxide causes an increase in acidity and this change in pH triggers fear response. Breathing slowly and steadily can regulate the amount of carbon dioxide in your blood. It will also slow down your heart rate. Learning to breathe properly is probably the best way to learn how to get rid of social anxiety. Number 4 is change your focus. When we suffer from social anxiety, we think the whole world is watching our every move. The reality is very different. It is fear more likely that people are going about their business and haven't even noticed that slightly nervous person. It is very easy to focus on ourselves, our bodies, and to ramp up all those feelings of paranoia. Not only are we exaggerating what's really happening, but we notice every little thing about our bodies as well. We can feel our heart rate increasing, our skin getting hotter, our faces blushing, and our legs going wobbly. Instead of focusing inwards, turn attention outwards. Feel the sun on your face or the cool breeze on your skin. Look at the clouds in the sky or feel the grass underneath your feet. By focusing outwards, you will stop concentrating on the anxiety inside. Point number 5 is ditch your emergency behavior. We all have those little emergency behaviors that we do to keep us safe. They range from talking too fast so that we can get out of the conversation quickly to walking quickly to avoid speaking altogether. The problem is that these behaviors are designed as barriers to avoid social contact. We use them to cover up what we perceive as flaws in ourselves. As a result, if we keep doing them, we are never going to get better. You will be pleased to know that studies show once you have decided to drop these behaviors, you feel much better. The first thing to do is to identify your emergency behavior and choose which one you want to ditch. Start with a small behavior such as saying hi to a cashier in a store or waving at the postman. It doesn't have to be major but have to go at ditching something. Once you start dropping the small things, your confidence will build and you will feel able to try ditching the bigger ones. Sixth in the list is stop exaggerating. What's the worst thing that happened when you are out and about? Unfortunately, many of us know an instant answer to that question. But how realistic are we being? Will all our friends reject us forever if we have to walk out of the restaurant? Will our family disown us if we can't go to the relative's wedding? Are our work colleagues likely to stab us in the back if we don't attend a Christmas party? Of course not. But in our heads, we exaggerate what we think is going to happen. The reality is that it is as far removed from what will actually happen than anything you could think of. As I said before, people simply aren't interested in your life. They are too busy worrying about their own to be sticking their noses into yours. So, instead of exaggerating, try thinking realistically. Seventh point regarding getting rid of social anxiety is no one is perfect. Today's society aspires to perfection. Therefore, it certainly isn't easy to accept your flaws. But remember that we are all human and ask yourself, do you like perfect people or do you prefer those who have little imperfections? Typically, it is the imperfections in people that make us love them. I mean, who likes a smart ass who know it all anyway? Don't forget, some of your greatest writers spoke about human error, including Alexander Pope. To err is human, to forgive divine. All the people commit sins and make mistakes. God forgives them, and people are acting in a godlike way when they forgive. If you want to know how to get rid of social anxiety, then why not try the above tips? Remember, no one is perfect. We all make mistakes, and more people than you know suffer from social anxiety. Every time you get out there and do the things that make you anxious, you will become a little more confident and able to live your best life. Thanks for watching this video. Please do not forget to click on subscribe button and bell icon to get updates. Thank you.